I don't know much, but I do know that there's more airplanes in the ocean than there are submarines in the sky. This is the Grunge Bible Podcast. My name is Ethan Shalloway. I'm joined by Chris Salona, and I thought I'd mix it up with a dumb little saying that I heard my boss say one time.
That is true.
I don't know much, but I do know that there's more airplanes in the ocean than there are submarines in the sky.
I wouldn't be surprised. There's gotta be one submarine that's up there, don't you think?
Probably the yellow submarine.
Yeah, the yellow submarine is all over the place. Ethan, it's great to be here with you today for episode 108 of the Grunge Bible Podcast. Aside from feeling you're in an insightful mood, how are we doing otherwise? What other wealths of knowledge are you going to share with us today?
I got a lot of good stuff up my sleeve for today. No, I'm doing good. We're midweek. We're recording this. Energy levels high. We both got our mustaches out for spring. Oh yeah, which is great. Yours is looking awesome. I think it just goes with the hair right now. The mustache and hair combo you got going is a classic.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys who look like this.
If you were wearing blue, or like if you took a quick look and someone thought that maybe a badge, like you kind of look like a cop.
Yeah, or had like a denim jacket or something. There's going to be some elements of that for sure.
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Great. Yeah, I'm good. It's been a busy week so far, but a good week. Like you said, it's spring, and I feel like we're in bloom. Our mustaches are certainly in bloom, and it's great to be here today. We're going to talk a little bit of music, and today we have a fun little exercise. Ethan and I, we decided to compile our top 10 album opening songs from the grunge era, as we believe the grunge era to be. So there'll be some twists and turns, but we've always been fascinated. If you've listened to the show, you know this. We've always been fascinated by sequencing on albums and the choices that bands make in terms of the track order and the big role that the first song on an album or an EP plays to set the table and set the tone for the rest of the album. And we decided to take a look at the era as we see the era and make a list of our top 10, our 10 favorite, and what we think are the 10 best. So we're excited to share that with everybody today. And you also know, if you've listened, that this show is not possible without your support. We are completely supported up by those who listen to us, whether you're giving your time, your positive words of encouragement, your reviews, or your money. And there are people out there that choose to give us money, and they choose to give us money on Patreon, which is the best way to support the Grunge Bible Podcast. We have a $2, a $5, and a $10 level, where you can support us with that number each month. And I would like to thank those who are a part of the $10 a month Patreon tier, really keeping this podcast going. So I would like to thank Fuck Soup, Fresh Tendonitis, Faith Bittner, Granny Grunge, Jade Mercado, Jamie Lynn, Carlene Salona, Chris LSMS, Doug Endy, Eddie Vedder got me through my second divorce, Kara K, Captain Hightop, Brother Nature, Rachel Corning, Nikki Six, Millie, Alex Long, Black Hole Sean, Alexis Shannon, The Blue Owl, Lauren Irene, Marianne, Seattle 4 Fanboy from New Jersey, Shoe the Shoeless, What the Fuck's Up Denny's, Christine Shepard, and Corden Stewart. So thank you all for supporting at the top level. I would also like to thank everybody supporting at all levels below and in between. Anybody who's purchased merch, we've gotten some people that have gotten into the merch zone over the last couple of weeks, and we are very thankful for that.
Mm-hmm. Chris, what is one thing that you support in your life that you're proud of, that you're a proud supporter of? Because I know you do a good job of supporting people. So what's one thing that would be similar to supporting the Grunge Bible?
You know what I support? I am a subscriber to my local newspaper, my print newspaper.
Let's go.
I don't receive it in print every day, but I have an account and I go in. I got to know what's going on in my city. So I am a subscriber to the Providence Journal, the Projo. I support it. I spend a little bit of time each day reading it. I have some writers and some columnists and some reporters that I appreciate their work. And I think local journalism is very, very important. And I think it's something that is it's being attacked day in and day out. So I want to do my part to support.
Does it feel good when you support?
It feels good. Yeah, it feels good every single time I'm able to go on and I don't get paywalled. It feels good seeing that, whatever dollar amount it is each month be taken out. And I'm happy to support it. It's an honorable enterprise, I think, to report at the local community level. So I'm happy to be there and supporting that. What about you? You've definitely got something that you're a supporter of.
I just thought that on the spot. I don't have anything
Right. Well,
that I was dying to say, but I do. Yeah. I do support. I have a subscription to the local coffee shop that I get a bag.
That's perfect.
Yep. So I make sure to get that. I don't. I like to make my coffee at home. Not during April. We're in non-negotiable April, so
right,
we're
halfway through.
We're halfway through. No caffeine, no nicotine, and we're doing good. But
we're doing
I make sure to even if I already have a bag of coffee, I still let it come in, and I if I can't get there all the time, so I'm happy to do that. It feels good. It feels really good.
That's really awesome. I'll tell you. I used to be a Grunge Bible patron.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I am no longer a patron of Grunge Bible. I was a patron before we started the podcast when we just had the Patreon.
We had to make sure that the Patreon was real.
Exactly. I had to verify it.
We had to vet them.
Absolutely. There's always time for that.
So that is your sign out there that we practice what we preach, and we'd love
to. We're out there doing it.
And it feels good. Like I said, and an easy one for both of us is obviously we go to live shows and we get merchandise from the people that we were at, and that is
send away for the vinyl. Exactly. That's what you got to do. You got to get there on the ground level, person to person. So as I said, we like to thank everybody that's chosen to do that with us, and we hope that if you're enjoying this show, you might feel inclined to do that for us. And keep this show rolling so we can discuss topics such as the one that we were discussing today. And Ethan, I'll tell you this week, a little bit of a shotgun start here today. We're running short on time. You're traveling this weekend to go officially open up your track and field season with the javelin. You're heading out west. So we got to get this one in. And it's been a little while. We haven't touched a ranking since we did the top 100 songs of the grunge era for our 100th episode. So this idea, I would say, was born out of that and how much fun we had doing that and how well it was received. So as I said at the top of the show, this is a great topic, album openers. It's always good to discuss and see how these bands set the tone.
Mm-hmm. And looking at the list, so we got 10 really good ones. And, I went through and I kind of obviously got a little taste of the beginning. And all of these songs, have something really special in the beginning, and that's obviously why they're on the list. But there's a lot of uniqueness and a lot of cool things that set these songs out or set them aside for the band and something special for the band. So, very meaningful. I'm pretty excited. So, what do you say we get into it?
Yeah, I think we should get into it. And you made a really good point there. I would say you could make the case that all of these songs could be described using the word iconic. I think a lot of these are so integral to the legacies of these bands and what we perceive these bands to be. So we'll get right into it. There were so many candidates throughout the different nooks and crannies of the 90s grunge and grunge adjacent era, but we're going to start it with number 10. And that would be the opening track to the 1991 Temple of the Dog self-titled album, none other than Say Hello to Heaven. This one should probably be fresh in the minds of those who listen to the Grunge Bible podcast, having recently discussed this album. And, this one I think is a great tone setter, as we said in that episode, for just what the album was, what the objective of it was to honor Andrew Wood of Mother Love Bone, former bandmate of a lot of the guys in Temple of the Dog, former roommate of Chris Cornell's. And, you couldn't have picked a more poignant song to share in tribute for a friend and to open up an album that is a tribute to Andrew Wood, for sure.
Yeah, I think this one, time and place, how he wrote it and brought it, and they decided to put this one first, like the two tributes at the beginning of the album. And I think Chris's vocals on this one are extremely special. Not that they are on every song, but this one has some really beautiful stuff that impacted a lot of people. Like a lot of people covered it, as we talked about. A lot of people use it, and it's one that has grown throughout the years. And it was from a supergroup, so it's sometimes those, I feel like those one album bands or projects can be not, they can be overlooked sometimes. So the fact that this one has staying power is pretty significant.
Absolutely. And I don't think it's any surprise that when we were making this list, this spot, it was between Say Hello to Heaven or it was between Wake Up by Mad Season. Also the opening track, and also a great table setter for the subject matter that was discussed on that Mad Season album Above from 1995. So there's really a lot at play with this song. And I think it's perfect for the album, and it's perfect for what the band was. Now, Ethan, you're familiar with the concept of golden birthdays, right? Like it's like
I'm in mine right now.
Yeah, you're in your golden birthday.
I'm in my golden year right now
on the 28th. So whatever the whatever moniker you want to give, that's kind of what we're going to get into with this next song. Not only is it the first track of the album, but it is the first track of the first album that this band put out, which I suppose is obviously true. We have a few of those, and I don't think that's a surprise. This is your announcement to the world who you are and what you're going to be, as it was with Say Hello to Heaven and Temple of the Dog. For number 9, we are going back to 1992, the first track on Stone Temple Pilots' debut album, Core, Dead and Bloated. And I'll tell you, when Scott rolls in right with this megaphone, you kind of know like what these guys are going to be about. You kind of know what the DeLeo brothers are going to bring to the table for the next, few decades. And you know what Eric Kretz is about. I mean, the heaviness on this guitar, Scott's vocals, just the way he holds notes and the way he adds so much flavor to these notes, and just how heavy it is. We got
a lot of heavy songs.
We do have a lot of heavy.
But they all kind of start a little different. This one has the megaphone, which is so important. And I love songs that I can hear at the beginning of an album, and the first thing I think is, I want to hear this for the first song at a concert. I want this to be their opening song.
Oh my goodness. The lights go out, and then you just hear Scott. Yeah.
And all of these songs are that. Like, they're show openers, and they cut through. And but yeah, it's so funny. Like, a lot of these have that heaviness that is really similar, unique to the band, but really similar throughout these 10. And this song is really good. I'm glad that we made some revisions and we put this one back on the list. It needs to be there, so I'm pretty happy. This is a great one.
I totally agree. And yeah, you made a really good point that a lot of these songs share that same kind of style. But I mean,
they really do.
It's one of, I mean, that's the best way to get attention a lot of times. I mean, you make your announcement and you bang the door down and you let people know who you are and that you're here for a little while, and this is what you're going to do. And I think, as bands move throughout their catalog and they grow and develop, and people begin to develop a perception of what bands are and what they're supposed to be, it's always interesting to see where bands go with that first song of the next album, highly anticipated off of their first big album, and maybe they've put a few out, and then this next one from a very popular band, it's like, okay, what direction is this album going to go into? And that's what we have on the number 8 slot, a band that had been around for a little while by the time they put this album out. And those listening, you'll notice this is our first detour, I think, of what traditional grunge would be, or what people would consider. But we think this band is very important to include, and this is a hell of an opening track. We are going to go to 1999's The Battle of Los Angeles from Rage Against the Machine, the opening track, Testify. And I think this song, like we were just saying, this song, the beginning of it is just an explosion. When all of the instruments kick in, it just blows up. And it's classic Rage Against the Machine. They're coming out with a new album, after Evil Empire in 1995. So it had been a few years, and you don't know what the band is going to do. And I mean, they come right back out, and it's like, we're back again. We're back on our bullshit. We're Rage Against the Machine, and it sounds like Rage Against the Machine, but man, is this one powerful. I mean, I like it even better than the opener to their debut album, but Testify is a magnificent track. It's a triumph.
It's so funny. It starts off obviously with the guitar and a slow build, but then instantly when everything else comes in, it's like it's a high. They pick up the speed a lot more, and then all of a sudden you're in there and you just can't stop but jump around and move around. And
classic Tom Morello on this track too. Classic Morello solo. You'll watch him play this live. He's got his guitar way up top like he likes to play. He's jumping around, bobbing his head forward when it kicks in. And this is really, I think, analogous to who Rage Against the Machine are, and the things they sing about and the way their songs sound. I mean, Testify is a great example of both of those things. So what do you say we move up to number 7?
Let's do it.
All right, number 7. This one had to be on the list.
Yeah, this is kind of what you were talking about earlier, the first song of the first album, yeah?
Mm-hmm. This is the big announcement. So we are going back to 1991, the first song from Pearl Jam's debut album, 10, and that would be none other than Once, which, as we know, or you're about to know, was one of the first 3 songs that Eddie Vedder wrote for Pearl Jam. It was one of the 3 songs that was on the Stone Gossard demo tape that was circulating around. This one, its working title as a demo was Egyptian Cave. And this one, I think you feel so much of the primal energy that Pearl Jam was known for in 1992 and 1993, and just that sense of urgency that just fused from Eddie Vedder at this time, and just the anger and the intensity. I mean, this track is all of that, and it's right on display in the studio, which I think is hard to do, but I think Pearl Jam and Ed, they were able to convey that urgency and that intensity in the studio better than almost anybody else at the time, and this track is a great example of that.
Yeah, this intro for me, it's so funny. It reminds me of, like, it has that, like, kind of like the beginning is kind of mysterious, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it just reminds me of, like, an 80s or a 90s, like, cop movie in the beginning, where it's like it's dark and it's kind of rainy and they're getting in, and all of a sudden it picks up when the music,
the steam coming out of the sewers and everything, like everything's coated with mist.
Yes, and the credits are rolling, and all of a sudden, like, then you have that first scene where they get in the car or like something happens. They have that
the door slams shut and Stone Gossard's guitar starts riffing.
It's the first action scene of the movie. And that's exactly what this is. Like, this could be a soundtrack to an opening of one of these movies, and then they just get right into it, and it's what? You know?
Yeah, and it's great, and I imagine in the future we'll do this same exercise with closing songs, but the same instrumental track that closes Release, the last track of this album, you know, they start that instrumental track on Release, but then when you loop the album, the end of the instrumental on Release goes right into the beginning of the instrumental little hidden Easter egg track in Once, and I think that's a really, really cool touch. But Ethan, you described whatever the hell is going on in that absolutely perfectly. I hadn't heard that one before, and I totally agree with that.
You can just see some bad acting, like some bad cops. Oh man, those movies are great though. They get you. You know,
they're great. They're fantastic. So let's move up to number 6, the 6th best opening track of the grunge and grunge adjacent era. Ethan, I know this is one you're really excited about. This is the opening song for Frog Stomp Silverchair's 1995 debut, Israel's Son.
Yes. And it's, again, first song, first album. And this one, Chris, did you know how old they were when they did this?
I have heard a rumor that they were a little younger than people normally are when they put their album out. Could you tell me?
About 15 years old.
No way.
And I listened to this song and I thought about it. If I was a 15-year-old, and because I played music when I was 15 as well. Yeah, and this is like a teenager's dream of a song to me to put together. Like, it's such a badass. It's a pretty simple intro, pretty just heavy, and then like they just do an incredible job, and it's really amazing how it came together. But it's like a perfect play with your buddy's song in the barn or something, and then it becomes one of my favorite songs by them. It's just really stuck to me.
Yeah, and fun. I just love the fact. I mean, the bass guitar at the beginning. It's like, all right, like we're gonna blow an amp on the first song of our careers.
Yeah,
you know, we're gonna come in, and I mean, it is, as much as people make jokes about it, and as much of like a running gag. Oh, they were only 15. It is so impressive.
It is.
You know,
that's
the songwriting and the playing ability that these guys had, and Daniel John, DJ's voice. I mean, Daniel Johns' voice at this age is incredible, and it's totally on display here.
Yeah, like I said, I don't want to say it's simple in a bad way. It's simple in the best way. Yes. To me, like hearing it just sounds so much fun to play with your buddies, and I'm like, it's a perfect song to put on your first album. So happy for them.
Absolutely. So we've reached the halfway point in our list here.
That's right. We're doing good. We're doing good. And this next one is probably, I mean, if we did like best opening 4 songs, I think that we'd have to go to this album to be, the best 4. And it starts with Rusty Cage being the first one of Bad Motorfingers. So Yeah, what do you thought? We talk about Rusty Cage a lot, so what
gosh. This is just Soundgarden. This is what these guys do. I mean, this album is, one of their best. It may be their best, and this is a perfect, like we've been talking about. It's a table setter for what was to come on Bad Motorfinger. The sounds that you hear on Rusty Cage, you hear time and time again on the rest of Bad Motorfinger. And I'll always say with this song, the tempo change at the end when they slow down and it gets really heavy, really sludgy. It's just such a perfect segue for the band. And this song, in my opinion, was built to be played live, because when they make that shift, Soundgarden, they thrived when things slowed down like that. I mean, you think about all the things that they did when they performed Slaves and Bulldozers live and Rusty Cage. When they slow that down and it just gets really, really heavy, it almost sounds like the song is drunk. And it's so perfect because the way that they played.
I was gonna say it sounds punch drunk.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is in the best possible way. And, I think Bad Motorfinger, you really start to hear Soundgarden experimenting with sounds like that, more so than they did in the 1980s. And it's what a great era of Soundgarden, and what a great beginning to that era right here with Rusty Cage.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it's like a little delirious. Like you just moshed a little bit and you spun around a ton, and you're like, all of a sudden you're just like
so you're coming to after like after
and then all of a sudden the guitar comes back in, you have to start headbanging again. You're like, oh, back in it.
Exactly, but like the tempo's slower, and like you can get more whiplash on it. It's perfect. It's exactly what you want.
Yeah, this is obviously an incredible song. Like I said, an incredible start to an album, and like I said, perfect concert opener. This is totally one of my favorites.
Yep. So let's move up to number 4, and a brief editorial for this. This is the only song that we reached out of the confines of the 1990s for. But once we unveil this, you'll see why. I mean, this song was the first track on the first album of one of the more highly anticipated supergroups ever. I mean, you're taking people from two bands that were so well known, so famous, and so important to the 1990s, and you put them together in a band. And this is the first song on their first album, and we're talking about none other than Audioslave's 2002 self-titled album. The first song being Coach Eyes, and oh my God, this is. I mean, what can you say about this song? I always forget how much I love this album and how much I love this song. I mean, when you make a song like Coach Eyes, you can't have it anywhere else on the album, I think, than opening things up.
Yeah, and I believe that this is the opening song when they played on the roof for Letterman as well.
It was either that or it was Set It Off. I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure this is the openers, and when they cut to them, and they just had a long build, slow build intro, or the guitar's just ripping, and then the drums are coming in. And then audio, Chris comes in and the Audioslave starts hitting, and it's like, it's awesome. It's Rage Against the Machine with Chris Cornell, a little upgrade at the vocals if you to testify.
Incredible. Yeah, it's so good.
I love it.
And just like what Chris is able to do, with his voice, overlaid with the talents, the instrumental talents of, the lion's share of Rage Against the Machine. I mean, this was the Audioslave era, was a short-lived era, only had a couple of albums, and their first was undoubtedly their best. It was just that magic that they captured in that moment. And Coach Eyes is a beautiful, fantastic, and heavy example of that. I'm looking back, the last 3 songs we discussed, Coach Eyes, Rusty Cage, and Israel Sun. It's exactly what you said when we were talking about Dead and Bloated. I mean, there's a lot of heavy songs on here.
Yep, exactly. I looked at those 3 and I was like, oh man, these are.
I wouldn't have it any other way though. Beefy. I mean, that's what a lot of this era was about, and what a statement they made with this one.
And like you said in the beginning, I think that if you're going to start an album and you're going to really catch people's attentions, you got to do something like that. I think that's the best way. That's the best way to get my attention. I feel like when I listen to an album, that first song has to be special,
And this one sure was. All right, we're moving up into medal position now. The top 3.
Oh, the medals.
Yeah, we're in the money now. We're gonna come in. So coming in with the bronze medal in this exercise here today. Back to 1993, the opening track for Smashing Pumpkins' Siamese Dream album. Ethan, one of your personal favorites, we were going with Cherub Rock. So, let's hear it. Why you championed this song when we were discussing this list?
I wanted to bring it up. I think that this whole song is a build for me. it starts off really slow, obviously, and the guitar, and the drums kind of come in, and it's like a nice 30-second to 45-second build. And then the whole song just continues to build. And like, I just think that's a great way to start an album, and gets chaotic at times, and they just jam. They just rip so hard. It's such a good representation of the musicianship that Smashing Pumpkins has to offer.
Right.
And again, like, it's just something you want to see live. You want to see them come out, lights down low, and just playing hard. So
yeah,
I just love it. I think this one's such a good song.
So something that's really cool about this era of the Smashing Pumpkins, as you get into 93 and obviously moving on to Melancholia in 1995, is like this was kind of their catapult into more of the mainstream, after Gish. But what I love about this is they continue the style that they had developed with Gish. I mean, that buzzing and humming guitar style that the Pumpkins and Billy Corgan were so known for. I mean, it's so evident on this track. And it's one of those things, I mean, with Gish, it's like they had such a good and unique thing. And with this song and with this album, they take it to the next level, and they waste no time, going with the first track, letting us know that those elements are going to be here. They're refined, and you hear them in a new way on this album. And yeah, Ethan, you have done a lot for me personally, and my own appreciation for the Smashing Pumpkins, and specifically for Cherub Rock. Yeah. So I would like to thank you for that.
Absolutely.
It is in its rightful place here towards the top of the list.
And I love the ending too. Like, it just builds up to be like, and I was gonna say, like, Billy's voice is really solid on this song. Yeah. He doesn't whine. He doesn't get too annoying. Like, it's in his cue zone the whole time. Like, he doesn't
never do that.
Yeah, he doesn't do one of those things where he gets annoying, where some of these guys do. And then the ending is just so, it's just chaotic and like spastic, and it's a perfect way to finish a song. Kind of splash out at the end. It's good.
Yeah, it's really fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving up to number 2, the runner-up. The silver medalist in the top 10 album opening songs of the grunge era, according to us. Nevermind's opening track, 1991, a song by the name of Smells Like Teen Spirit, which, I mean, really, if we're being honest, like, it probably maybe should kind of be number 1, but it doesn't matter. That's why this is our list.
Yep.
If you want it to be number 1, share your list with us. But Ethan, it's one of those things, and the same conversation that we had about this song on the top 100 songs that we did for episode 100 could be said here. What else can you say about this track? I mean, this is probably the most recognizable track of the era, and the fact that it was the album opener, I mean, just makes sense. I couldn't imagine it being anywhere else, and I also couldn't imagine another track from Nirvana or another track period being the standard bearer of the era. Yeah. I mean, this one just it just fits.
It has all the accolades in the genre. Yeah. I mean, it can win every award.
It has all the accolades except being number 1 on this list or the top 100 list that we did.
Yes, but exactly. All I can say is, hello, Dave Grohl in the beginning.
Hello, Dave.
I mean, everyone talks about how when he came in with the idea to put the drums in like he does, and that is an incredible way to start a song, incredible way to start an album, and it's why it changed the musical scene forever.
Yeah, man, that's what it did. It really, I mean, this one, it's iconic. That's what we said at the beginning. I mean, all of these songs, you could say they're iconic. You have to say Teen Spirit is iconic. So that's what we're going to do, and it's obviously got to be on this list. But that leaves us, Ethan, with one more spot on the list, the top spot. Top dog, gold medalist, greatest of all time album opening songs from the 90s. And I think, we've gone through 9 songs.
People should know where we're going to end on these lists.
People should know where we're going, because we've mentioned a lot of bands, the usual suspects. However, there is one band that we haven't mentioned yet. So, Ethan, I think now is a pretty decent time to introduce Alice in Chains to the party.
Hello, Alice in Chains.
We're going to the Dirt era. The opening track from Dirt, Them Bones. I mean, come on. It's got to be Them Bones. It was always Them Bones.
It was always Them Bones. I love that. This song, you got Lane coming in with the ahs and the
screaming. Like it's awesome. The ascending guitar riffs. I mean, this one doesn't get old, and we've spoken about this one On Top 100, we've spoken about it with Alice in Chains. We've spoken about it with the Dirt review that we did. And we're going to talk about it now because it doesn't matter. This song is so significant.
And the nice part about this one, and some of the other ones have builds, right?
Right.
This one comes in and it's and then it does like 4 of those, and then they get right into like him singing loud, and all of a sudden the verses they're already singing them bones within like 45 seconds of the song, and it gets into it quick, and that's
because this one, it's a short song. I mean, it's not very long.
Yeah,
so this song already comes in built. It's like a prefabricated banger.
It's only like 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, so, like you bring it in, into the lot, you put it there, and it just blows everybody away. It is absolutely, in my opinion, and in your opinion, and in our opinion collectively, the best album opening song from the 90s grunge era. It's got to be them bones.
Yeah, and this, like I said, it has it all. It's quick, it's fast, but then it has that solo that you want.
Hello, Jerry.
Hello, it has the Jerry solo, which, I'm just, maybe taking a shot in the dark, but probably the best solo out of this whole list. I'm looking right now. I mean,
it's definitely, I mean, depending on what you think about, maybe like
you had Tom
like
Morello,
a Teen
but this
Spirit Kurt solo.
Yeah, but nah, Jerry is at the top, I think. Yeah. So
I mean, as if there was ever any surprise.
Yeah. So no surprise, like I said, we're Alice in Chains guys. Yeah. And we're happy to have them at the top of any one of these lists.
It's wild to think about because there was a time where we were Pearl Jam guys. Oh, we were, but I think.
Then you went on the Brighton tour. Then you went to the Brighton tour.
This is one of those things. I mean, it's just one word, just Brighton. Okay, Jerry, whatever you say. So that is our top 10 album opening songs list. If you feel like we missed some songs on this list, or we left something out, or we didn't kind of expand a little bit more, we've got good news for you, because next week we have some honorable mentions and some that maybe fall off the beaten path a little bit, that we are planning on doing something special with next week for another top 10 list, Ethan, I believe. So stay tuned for that. We're going to get into the spirit of the season that is to come here in the United States. It's going to be warming up, so we think next week's episode will do you well as the temperature moves on up there.
Yeah, honestly, one of my favorite types and scenes of music to talk about and to be excited about the warm weather and listen to the music. So pretty excited about that one. Like I said, there's a few songs that we wanted to include, but then we decided to keep it simple, stupid, and stay within the realm of what we do.
A quick podcast today. So we hope you enjoyed that list. If you're still with us, we'd like to thank you for sticking with us thus far. As we mentioned earlier, there are a lot of different ways to support us. Leave a review, leave a nice comment, share the show with a friend, give us your money by buying merch or supporting us on Patreon, or any of the other normal things that I normally mention that I'm forgetting to mention. But we would also like to thank our producer, Drew McFadden, for his work on the Grunge Bible podcast. He is the gasoline that makes this old clunker go, and he's always pouring. It's great. It's really, really good. So before we get out of here, Ethan, we have one more thing that we need to get done today, and that would be the songs of the week. One from you and one from me. This is what we're listening to right now, and it's what we think you should be listening to right now. So Ethan, I'll get it started. I feel like I'm on a little bit of a roll here. So my song of the week is going to be from the pen of Gord Downey and the Tragically Hip.
Hell yeah.
It is going to be Bob Cajun. I had a moment with Bob Cajun a couple of days ago. I've had many moments with this song throughout my life, and it's a perfect song. It's perfect. I don't really know what else to say about this song. It's one of those songs that just hits you when you need it, and it's always there. And it's special. It's really special.
It is one of those songs that you listen to it and I can let my guard down so fast to that song. You know what I mean? If I want to feel emotional during some music, I can play that song and let it play, and it usually does the job, and it's awesome. Mm-hmm. It's Gordon Downey.
Gordon Downey.
Gordon Downey. I love it.
Downey. Gone too soon, man. What a guy.
Yeah. I'm happy you picked that. Okay, so my song, I sent a text to you, I think it was last week, that I was becoming a part of the James gang.
Yeah. Yes, you did.
And I can't remember how it came up after. I think I was playing a playlist. All of a sudden, James Gang came up, and we actually saw the James Gang. They came out and played. Forget
we did see the James Gang.
We saw the James Gang at the Kia Forum, and my song is Ashton Park by the James Gang, and it is so funky, and it is so like, it's got like the Grateful Dead like sweet guitar, but it's a little bit more upbeat and kind of like bluesy rock and like, or just it's like that country blues and folky. Oh, it's so good, and you gotta love the James Gang, dude. Some Joe Walsh and was it? I'm looking at Jim Fox and Tom Chris, Dale Peters, dude. James Gang. I'm pumped to be back into the fold of these guys.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely great. So we've got 2 great additions. We spent a great 30 minutes. So we were trying for under 30 minutes. We're rolling in at about 34 minutes, but that's all the time that we have today. We'll try harder next week. You can find us at the same time next week whenever you're listening. Comes out Monday morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern time in the United States. So thanks for spending some time with us this week for episode 108. We hope you liked it, and we hope to be talking to you again very soon.
In the words of Michael Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser, see you later, knuckleheads. We're out for a 168-hour break.
Good night,
That's around
Canada.
the horn. Good night, Canada. Rock and roll, guys. Talk to you later.
Cheers. Tag yourself. Which one are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll post that later.
The Pillar of Davidson.
Yeah. The fuck are they even talking about? All right, this is...
Look at the one. It's Shit Town.
Oh my god. Holy shit.
Shit Town.
Literally, I guess.
It has I Alone and Lightning Crashes, so it's a good album.
Dude, look at all these notes I used to write. Now... All right, no.
Not surprised.
Where's the Patreon list?
Let's ignore it.